My name is Matt, and this is my story. I had a rough childhood, being brought up just kind of in a separated family. My mom and my dad separated. I was around 2 years old. Mom kidnapped me and ran off with me. She was pretty emotionally abusive, verbally and emotionally. And that lasted pretty much all the way up into my teens is when I was dealing with that. Around 16, I was able to get my driver's license and got a girlfriend, and things were going pretty good. And then it was in that moment that me and that girlfriend, we broke up. It was in that a lot of the things from childhood started rearing its face, and that's whenever I began drinking a good bit. I started drinking, I started trying to cope with those emotions that I was feeling. At that point, I was really just trying to get away from emotion, depression, myself, decisions that I had made, prior relationships that caused me a lot of pain, going back and forth with suicidal tendencies, and then which eventually led to harder drug use. It was really just God that was keeping me alive at that point, because I was doing everything in my power to not stay alive. And it got to the point where I just continued drinking, I continued to do drugs, until finally the drugs had caught up to me, and I had overdosed one night at a party. I went to a private school. I knew about God. I knew, for the most part, who He was. I would even get intoxicated and go outside on the back porch, and I would pray. I would tell God that I'm sorry. I want the desire. I want the want to get to know You, but I can't give up the things that I'm doing. When we had our first child is when things really started to settle in, that I needed to kind of clean up. But it was still multiple years later, because there was many years that I continued to drink. I just decided not to do any of the drugs anymore. And so there was finally one point in 2013, while I was in the kitchen after having quite a few beers, my son walked into the kitchen with a deer call. And I just remember looking at him as he was saying, Dad, look, and started using his grunt call. And it was in that moment that I just remember looking into his eyes, but then just seeing that he was looking for that approval, that he was looking for that affirmation. And it was just like God snapped me out of it. He woke me up out of it. And literally the next day, it was like there was this removal of the desire to drink or do drugs. And actually ended up giving away all of the liquor and beer that we had in the house at that moment, that next day. And then it was in December of 2013 that we came here to Healing Place. And I just remember being in worship and God's presence being so strong, and just feeling the love that I don't think I'd ever felt before in my entire life. And it was in that moment that I felt a weight being taken off of me. And that's whenever I found freedom, was whenever I realized that I am a son of God, and all I have to do is surrender my life to Him. All I have to do is just give up. The things that I've been trying to fight, the things that I've been trying to hang on to, all I needed to do was surrender those things to Him. And He was there waiting for me to do so. And I had no idea. What I would say to somebody who is entangled in sin right now, who is looking for freedom, but they're still fighting, is surrender, is 100% surrender. Freedom is found in Christ as we pursue Him, laying it all down at the altar, continuing to live a life where we're pursuing God by reading His Word, by staying in prayer, by living a life of obedience. This world offers these temporary desires, these temporary pleasures that don't last. And if anything, afterward, they're short-lived, and all they do is bring shame, they bring despair. There's condemnation that you don't deserve to carry. And it's whenever you do truly encounter the freedom that Christ has to offer, is whenever you see what true joy is, what true love is, what true happiness is. And there's nothing that this world offers that can compare to that. My name is Matt, and I am an overcomer.